He was a leader, and he was the type of person that led by example.
I think he's shown a whole new generation what it means to be dedicated.
Very compassionate man, not only with his family, but also with the people that he worked with.
We laughed that, he was the commander in the police department, but he was the commander in the Bauer family also.
Very honest, very hardworking, but a lot of fun as well. A hard worker, family-oriented, faithful, loving person.
I want them to know what a great guy he was, what a great friend he was, how much he loved his daughter and his family.
He was a very nice person, very sweet, funny. He had a lot of good attributes.
We took care of him, and as he grew older, we would be told by my mother, keep an eye on your brother.
I mean, he was just a good kid. Growing up, he was a good kid.
He was an altar boy, he was a Cub Scout, he was on a baseball team, Little League. My dad was really good at being Paul's buddy. So even if my mom would freeze the backyard, my dad and Paul would be on one team and the three girls would be on the other team. Paul would be the goalie, but he would have a helmet on because we didn't want anything to happen to him. And we played rough.
We went to St. Ignatius College Prep. As high schoolers and teenagers, Paul was far and away the more serious student.
He talked about when he told my dad, I'm gonna go into the police force. And he prefaced it with what he had learned at St. Ignatius about justice and serving others and a vocation, a calling.
After he came on the job, the next thing he did was he went to IIT and he got his master's from IIT. I mean, he was all about education and taking himself seriously.
We're at the South Shore Cultural Center, the barn, which is the home of the mounted unit. Paul spent a lot of time here in his career, and it's a big chunk of his life.
And he would stop and go, hey, look around. Look how beautiful this is. He had a real appreciation for this unit and appreciation for, I think, what it did for his life.
We met at a fundraiser for John Knight's family. John was killed in January of 1999. Paul was a good friend of John's. I saw him across the way, and then I saw that he was very cute. And then when he walked by, I said, hey, Tom Cruise.
His eyes just gleamed. He just had the smiling eyes.
It was a lot of fun. He had a good sense of humor.
And when he had baby Grace, I'd never seen this side of Paul before. He became the family man, the father.
And when she was born, he was just like, oh my God, I never knew how much I could love somebody like, a baby like this. And it really did change his life. He was crazy about Grace, and he was a hands-on dad, and he loved being with her. He loved going to all her softball games and all her debates, and he just really got a kick out of Grace. And she got a kick out of him. They were best buddies.
Paul was a great friend, extremely reliable. If I had a problem, I would take it to him because he always made great sense.
My friendship with Paul, especially the last year, I had to step up as the interim superintendent, and during a very difficult time, and it was very stressful. And I think the only person who worried about me more than my mom was Paul. He took care of me just by checking in on me, and that meant a lot.
It's sad. It's hard. It's hard to live without him. Paul took care of everything, and we had our whole future planned. I know that he's still with us. I know that he's keeping Grace and me strong. I really feel it. And he'd want us to move on and to live and to enjoy our life. So many people, not just friends, relatives, but strangers that have gone out of their way, to send us things or call us or send us letters or send us food or, these people really went out of their way to help us and to let us know that they're still thinking of us and praying for us. So it means a lot to us.
When you think about how he served his family His wife, his daughter, my parents, the neighborhood, the PTO. That was Paul's nature, to just see a need and jump in and do something about it.
They're going to name, I believe, the new training facility after Paul.
We started naming the horses after fallen officers in 2000. We're hoping soon to have a horse named after Paul Bauer.
I hope for the next generation that they look on this and go, I want to be like that when I go up to the ranks, when I get to be a boss.
The one thing that gives me a little bit of comfort is knowing that the Chicago Police Department, I really believe in the future, is always going to reflect a little bit of Paul and who Paul was.
Obviously, the future generations aren't going to know who he was, and that he was a guy that was in this living room and walking around, and he was my husband, and he was a guy, he was a friend, and he was just a dad to Grace. I just hope that he's remembered as a brave person, a humble person, a kind person, because he was. And he was very serious about his job, and he was doing what he was going to do. And I'm not angry at him. That's what he was. He was that person, and that's why I loved him. He had to do what he had to do, and I think he did the right thing. I hate what happened, obviously, but there has to be a reason. Maybe he saved many lives that day.